led you to open up your own firm?
So around 2002, I was at that point Chief Investment Officer at the World Bank, but also really responsible for the bank's finances, the ratings, borrowings, and the capital markets. Great job, loved it. And I got approached to go to Wall Street. And to fast forward, I also had 2 young children. My husband was not too excited about moving to New York at that time, if you need to know. And I thought maybe the best way is to stay here and to start a company. So at that time, I went to Carlyle as their 12th partner, I think, and started Rock Creek Carlyle Asset Management Group. And then later on in 2003, 2004, agreed with Carlyle to buy it out, but it was sort of the same entity, really.
Hedge funds have come under some intense fire from a variety of sources over the last year or so. What's your take on the situation, and is there a solution?
What happened over the last really decade is that as large institutions came in, they said, we want an institutional hedge fund. And people went into 20, 30 largest of the largest and made them even larger. So basically, a lot of what hedge funds became was traditional managers interested in the flat fees rather than the incentive fees. And that's natural, it's human. And there was no alpha. So as the size got bigger, as the size of investors got bigger, as the fees were high and the returns were not there, whether it's lack of opportunity or just too many players. The big problem was that there was not necessarily real talent. It became part of traditional asset management, charging the 120. And that's why we have seen a lot of the negative, both press, politics, within committees. I'm on a lot of investment committees, and every investment committee I'm on, the same conversation that you just mentioned goes on. But I think that sort of, if I look the next 10 years and the next decade of hedge funds, we'll sort of revert to something which is much closer to the early stages. There will be 20 to 30% shrinkage in the business, which is probably good for everybody. You will find the most sophisticated investors will continue to have hedge funds as part of their toolbox. You will start looking at hedge funds on not just the risk-adjusted, but also on a cost-adjusted basis. So risk-adjusted, cost-adjusted, does it make sense to invest in X or Y? And I think the hedge funds that you've seen, a lot of very good hedge funds that have come out of, in the last few years, out of the Baupost, Highbridges, and other top funds, Lone Pine, et cetera, who are very careful with who they take as an investor and also size limitations. Because they've gone back to the original model. They're putting a lot of their own money in there, and you're going in as a partner. I think that will be sort of the future model. And if you have the returns, and if you have the alpha, you will have good investors, and if you don't, you won't.
Rock Creek has a reputation for finding talented emerging managers, also diverse managers. Are you finding plentiful talent out there and funds that are really worth investing in on behalf of your institutional investors?
Some of the areas we're looking at right now, one of them is looking at how to create a hedge fund portfolio at a low cost. We have also come up with best ideas portfolios where we work with our hedge funds and we come up with best ideas but at a much lower fee. And these fees really differ anything from 60, 70 basis points to 1 and 10. So that has been one very big area that has been interesting. We have also been looking at how to incorporate impact investing into total portfolios. Again, I'm a big believer that you can do well for your clients and do good. And with a number of our clients who are truly interested, we've been looking at how to integrate not just ESG factors, but also really impact investing. And takes me to another area where we've been growing a lot, which is emerging markets. And within emerging markets, what we've done a fair bit of recently is really adding to health and education, which in these countries you might call social impact, but in fact they were the highest return areas.
If you couldn't be involved in investment management anymore, what would you do?
2 or 3 areas are really exciting. I mentioned the ESG and impact in investing, but I think just the whole area of clean energy and renewable energy are fascinating. And I sort of find whatever I do in my life, even if I'm on vacation someplace, I'm thinking about that.
Looking
So-
for windmills.
Looking for windmills,
solar.
but it's interesting. I got married in Hawaii, and we go there a fair bit, and it shocks me that 90% of the fuel used in Hawaii is not solar, it's diesel fuel. So you have the best environment for geothermal, for solar, for wind, and you're importing 90% in our own country.
Afsaneh, what are your passions outside the office? What do you like to do, whether it's intellectual, creative, physical? What do you do when you're not here?
I live in a household with a number of men and boys. So 2 of them are baseball players. And I knew nothing about baseball before I had kids, I have to say. And I have become the baseball mom. And in fact, I have a great story where Britt Harris, who's a Texas retirement system, had to sort of sit me down and explain to me the positions that my kids were playing in football and baseball. And I'm much more of an expert now. He would not say so, but I think I've become better. And I'm the baseball mom for the college team.